Hey guys, this is Miss Stam and I'm here to help you with your ecosystems notes. First off, we have the freshwater ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystems have a low salt content of less than 1%. This ecosystem includes lakes, ponds, streams, wetlands, and rivers. The ecosystem can be divided into 3 zones. The topmost and warmest zone is located near the shore. The next zone is located near the surface and consists of open water. The coldest zone is found at the bottom of the ecosystem. Here is a possible food chain for the freshwater ecosystem. We begin with algae as the producer, which is then eaten by a midge, which is kind of like a fly, followed by a duck that eats the midge, and a water moccasin, which will eat either a small duck or a duck egg, and then a snail that eats the decaying water moccasin, followed by the bacteria, which then decomposes the decaying snail. And then here's just a chart showing you the producers, consumers, herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and decomposers or detritivores. Next we have the marine ecosystem. The marine ecosystem is a saltwater ecosystem that includes oceans, seas, salt marshes, intertidal zones, mangrove swamps, coral reefs, deep oceans, and the sea floor. When I think of the marine ecosystem, I think of Finding Nemo. Marine ecosystems cover 2/3 of the surface of the Earth. They have the greatest biodiversity of all ecosystems. Here's a possible food chain in a marine ecosystem. We start with the plankton, phytoplankton, then we have coral, followed by the seal eating the coral, followed by the killer whale eating the seal, and then the crab that eats the dead and decaying killer whale. And here's another chart with some examples of the producers, consumers, and other organisms. Next, we have the temperate deciduous forest. This ecosystem has an average annual temperature of 10 degrees Celsius with an average rainfall of 75 centimeters to 150 centimeters per year. Temperate deciduous forests have 4 distinct seasons during the year. The forest can be divided into 5 zones: large trees, smaller trees, shrubs, herbs, and the forest floor. This type of ecosystem can be found in the eastern half of North America, the middle portion of Europe, eastern China, Japan, Western Australia, and in New Zealand. Here is a possible food chain in the temperate deciduous forest. We begin with the berries, which are eaten by the mouse. The hawk eats the mouse, and then the beetle will eat a decaying hawk. And here's another table showing you some different producers and consumers. Next, we have the desert ecosystem. There are 2 kinds of desert ecosystems. We have hot deserts and we have dry and cold deserts. So hot and dry or cold. Hot and dry deserts have an average temperature of 20 to 25 degrees Celsius with very little rainfall each year. Not much vegetation grows, and most of the animals must burrow underground to survive the extreme heat. A cold desert gets a great amount of snow in the winter, but the temperature is too cold year-round for most plants to grow. A possible food chain in a desert ecosystem includes grass, which is eaten by a deer, which is then eaten by a mountain lion, which is then eaten by ants, which eat the decaying mountain lion. Here are some examples of producers and consumers in a desert ecosystem. Now we have the tropical rainforest ecosystem. A rainforest ecosystem is one that receives a great amount of rain each year. All of the organisms that live in the rainforest are adapted to live in a very rainy environment. The plants can be divided into 4 levels. The highest level is the tall trees that form a closed canopy over the forest. The next level is the vines that grow up into the tall trees. Shorter trees and ferns make up the 3rd level, and then the lowest level is the dark forest floor. Rainforests have a great biodiversity. A possible food chain includes a fruit tree, which then the spider monkey eats from. A jaguar would eat the spider monkey, and then the beetle would eat the dead and decaying jaguar. And here's a table with some more examples of producers and consumers. We now have a savanna ecosystem. The savanna is a grass-covered ecosystem with widely spaced trees or clumps of small trees. Savannas typically have a wet summer season with a very dry climate the rest of the year. Savannas are usually located between desert and forest ecosystems and can be considered a transitional zone between the two. A possible food chain includes an acacia tree, which is then eaten by the giraffe, the hyena, which eats the giraffe, and a vulture, which eats the dead hyena. The beetle then would eat the dead and decaying vulture. And here is a table showing some examples of producers and consumers. All right, well, that covers the ecosystems for your ecosystems notes. Hope that helps.